another report released today has shed new light on our online data habits, in particular storing photos. It's claimed that unwanted digital photos produce the same amount of carbon emissions as more than 100,000 return flights from London to Australia. So, do we all need to take more responsibility for tackling the climate crisis? Vicky, we think about what we do at home, don't we? We think about the way in which we use energy. We think about the cars that we drive. We think about the things that we eat, for example. I've never even considered my phone and the photographs that I take as being a factor here.
Well, absolutely. I have to say, when I read the report, I immediately looked at all my photographs. Well, I didn't look at them all because, of course, there are so many. I, like everyone else, is keeping rather a lot of data on our phones and computers that perhaps we don't need to do. But the knowledge that platforms like, whether it's Facebook, Google, for example, are in fact making us all, and they themselves consume an awful lot of energy, has been around for some time. And the figures are such that suggest that, in fact, the energy consumed through all our uses, if you like, is something equivalent to airline emissions, global airline emissions at present, which is pretty large. That's about 3 to 4% of global emissions. And of course, there is a huge increase in the use. And although we've read about this, of course, we individually didn't think that just Googling something a few times also, of course, emits at the end of the day, a lot of CO2. What I worry about is that this report says what we as individuals should do. But obviously, policymakers should know that this is happening. The data has been out there for some time, and we know that it's going to be even bigger in the future. I mean, the question now with post-COVID and us all using a lot of social media and other ways in terms of communicating, that is supposed to be good for the environment. I think something needs to give. So we can't just be living in this ignorance, or at least most people, not realizing that what they're doing is also contributing to worsening the environment. And I don't know, and I haven't quite thought about what the implications of this can be, whether indeed all those platforms can be more energy efficient, but obviously they need to.
OK, and Simon, I did the same as Vicky. I looked immediately when I read this at the number of photos on my phone. I don't even want to admit it. Vicky talked about the responsibility of individuals. Is there something we can all do to clean up our habits? And what about the companies themselves?
Well, I looked at this report as a conscientious scientist and looked at the calculations behind it. And what they're saying is that all of this social media and internet activity is about 0.2% of our emissions over the whole year. So it's very, very small. And we need to keep in mind the big picture here. If we get our electricity system down to zero emissions through renewables, then we can then take as many photographs as we like.